First of all, if this is the first video you've seen, I would recommend checking out my other ones first. This is pretty much the last video. I'm just kind of giving an overview of some of the things that I recommend as far as products and what companies or what brands to go through when you're thinking about buying stuff for your African fat-tailed gecko or any other small reptile. The first thing would be the substrate. Obviously, I would recommend a reptile carpet, Zilla or Zoomed. Zilla makes some good ones. You can get them in brown. They have different sizes for your terrarium, 40 gallon, 20 gallon, 10 gallon, whatever it is. So go get one of those. They're pretty cheap, only about 10, 12 bucks. The second thing would obviously be the lighting. This is a Zoomed, really good stuff. This is the only one I bought and it's lasted me a really good amount of time. Very good light fixture. Comes with a little on and off switch, makes it really easy to turn off the light bulb and turn it back on and stuff. Just make sure you're doing a good job of actually switching out the light bulbs as much as possible. I would recommend at least twice, 3 times a day if you can. And then one more thing on the substrate basically is just something that can help improve your humidity if you're having some problems with that. You can also use it to make a humid hide box. It's really good. It's all natural. It's just terrarium moss. It's made by Zilla, same company that makes the reptile carpet. It's a good brand. If you looked on the back of one of these brands, they have a lot of information, a lot of useful tips as far as how to use this exactly for your gecko. This can be impacted. They can digest this. They can get into them, and it's not good. You don't want them eating this. So just be aware if you use this or any other natural substance that there's always a risk of impaction and your gecko getting sick and having some digestive problems. So speaking of food, make sure you're always gut loading whatever insects you're going to feed your gecko. I would recommend sticking with crickets for the most part. Occasional mealworm is good, or a super worm, that's good too. Just treat waxworms like a treat. Don't give them too often. They'll get too addicted to them, and that's what they'll refuse to eat anything else other than waxworms if you give them too many. So don't get them addicted to those. This is a good example of some gut loading cricket powder. Definitely give them a good amount of this. This is some high calcium. Flukers has a lot of good stuff. That's a really good brand when it comes to gut loading and other food and diet stuff like that concerning the diet. So definitely recommend Flukers. That's good stuff. And then make sure you always have vitamins and you got your calcium supplements. Calcium again twice a week. I wouldn't give more than 4 or 5 dusted crickets to a gecko a week. It really depends on your gecko, how big they are, how old they are, how much they eat, and stuff like that. But definitely then also vitamins once a week, like 2 or 3 dusted crickets a week with the vitamin powder. Try and separate out those days. Don't give them all at once. Make sure you got the right temperatures. I recommend getting a bulb that looks just like this one right here. I don't have the box it came in. I was looking for that, but I believe it is either Zoomed or Zilla or something, but you can find this at any Petco, any PetSmart, any local reptile shop. I'm sure they have them. And if you're lucky enough, you could probably find them for cheap at hardware stores, Osh, Home Depot. Go out and look around, try and find a cheap deal on these. This is a red 100-watt bulb. This is what I would recommend. As far as wattage, that kind of depends on the size of your terrarium as well as your gecko. If you've got a baby gecko in a 10-gallon tank, you don't need a big 100-watt bulb. I would probably get a 50 or 75. But if you do have an adult in a 10-gallon, you might need a 75 or 100 possibly. Just got to keep an eye on that. If you have a 20-gallon, I would recommend a 100-watt bulb. That's what I have. That's what I use. Works really well. Does a good job of keeping the hot side nice and hot, and it doesn't affect the humidity too much. Just be aware that if you are using a heating pad, that you can get the gecko too hot. So just keep an eye on those temperatures. Make sure you guys got a good digital thermometer. Don't buy that plastic crap. It doesn't work. It's not accurate. Just make sure you really got that good temperature down. If you're going to get insects, they usually come in a little box that goes in here. This would just be the outer portion, but you can get these at Petco. You can get them at local bait shops if you're lucky. But they're usually just about $5, and they'll give you like 30 crickets or so, 36 I believe. Make sure you gut load those again. That's real important. I recommend, as far as a terrarium goes, get a glass one. Don't get anything other than a glass one. Glass is good because it's hard for your gecko to get bacteria and diseases. Like if you kept it in a plastic container, it's a lot more likely to get some kind of respiratory infection or other things like that. So glass is the best way to go. Glass is good because you can spray water on it and it will completely evaporate. It won't leave any kind of moldy residue like it would in a plastic container, something like that. Make sure you also got a good hide, two hide spots for your gecko, a humid hide box, nice moist and damp, a little cooler spot for them to help shedding and stuff like that. And then make sure you also have a nice hot rock to go under, and as well as to go up on top and bask on it. All those things can be bought at any kind of pet store. It's okay to go to a pet store for applying or the little things like that. I just don't recommend going to a pet store to actually buy a reptile. But all the little knickknacks and stuff, go ahead and go to a pet store. They got some good stuff. Some of it's a little expensive, but if you hold out, sometimes you get some clearance sales or whatever. Just make sure you get some good stuff. Don't short yourself, especially when dealing with thermometers and substrate. Really spend the extra $1 on that, and then as well as lighting. Make sure you get a good light bulb fixture, especially if you don't have a heating pad, because that is your only source of heat. And if that goes out, there's really nothing that's there to save your gecko. So make sure you do a good job of changing out the light bulbs. Always have a backup supply of light bulbs. I would even recommend having a backup fixture. Just make sure you know what you're doing. Get some good quality stuff. Don't be afraid to spend an extra $1 or $2 for a better brand or whatever. It will benefit you in the end, most likely. But again, most of this stuff is very cheap. This is about $3. It's the only one I bought, and it's lasted me a really long time. This probably about $7, and then this, they come in a lot bigger containers. This is just a sample size I got from a friend, but they do come in bigger containers, around should be less than $10 depending on the size that you get. They do offer them in different sizes. I would recommend just getting a size like this. It should last you quite a long time. Yeah, and then they don't really expire. They have expiration dates, but they usually last over a year, so you're pretty safe with that. Yeah, Zilla and Zoo Med, good brands to go through. Just make sure you got good stuff for your gecko. Check out my other videos if you haven't already checked them out. Some good information. Got diet, substrate, babies versus adults, what I think about breeders, and what I think about pet shops as far as buying reptiles from them. And just basically everything else. I got handling. I got a lot of good videos out there. Check them out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, post your comments, give me some feedback. I'm open to discussion, open to hearing everyone's opinion, any advice, any cool tips or tricks that you guys have found out with your geckos. Anything that you found out is interesting, feel free. Honestly, just post. I don't really care. I'll try and get back to you on questions. I'll do my best at that. Just check out the videos and have fun with your geckos, guys.